North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
Buy a Honda. Good cars.
Good
I'll drive it.
Car go.
Buy a car. I'll drive it.
There you go. That makes sense. So if you got questions, Matt Stepp is here. So high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, Hawaiian shirts, coaching school, barbecue. Let us know. We were down in coaching school last weekend, having a good time, chopping it up a little bit, and I will just say, you may remember that in the depths of the pandemic, that the president at the time mentioned how he was like, the economy is really going to bounce back because there's pent up demand, right? There's pent up demand, and once people are allowed to go back and do things,
outside,
the economy is going to roar back, right? I think that same idea definitely held at coaching school for coaches being in their bag.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They were. Yeah. It was a big weekend, and there was lots of coaches there, and I was impressed with non-football thing. The number of usually coaching school is thought of as a football centric thing, and football is probably the main attraction. But there's other sports going on there. There's a Texas Girls Coaches Association, but the female coaches, there were a lot of ladies that were coaches that were at coaching school, not just coaches' wives that are coaches, but just ladies
like actual coaches.
It was a big weekend. There was a lot of women in sports forums going on there, so it's not just I was impressed with the turnout overall, but definitely from the female coaches as well.
Yeah, it was super cool to see, and just good to see everybody, and appreciate everybody stopping by the booth. We had an excellent time. But yeah, it was good times down in San Antonio. I guess we'll do it again next year.
It's back in San Antonio next year. So
it is.
Which gets me hyped.
Yeah.
It's a content bonanza. Like I said on Twitter, if you're in the media and you don't go to coaching school, and you cover high school sports or high school football in Texas, you're really missing out.
And there was constant mariachi music, which we haven't mentioned.
Yeah. That's an Ashley Pickle joint there.
I do want to ask you. I'll start off Mailbag Friday. If you got questions, ask them in the comments on Facebook. But I'll start because I got asked the other day, I did a radio interview. They said, what was the big takeaway from coaching school? And I said, well, the big takeaway is everybody's back together, blah, 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 this and that, just the overwhelming feeling of a return to relative normalcy. But from a news perspective, I feel like not enough people are talking about what went down at the UIL press conference. The UIL holds an annual press conference at THSCA. It's one of the few opportunities, not that the UIL isn't available to the media, but like that you get Dr. Jamie Harrelson, Dr. Breidup, and Dr.
You can pepper
Pelza
them with questions.
all together and just, you can fire away.
And guess who was peppering them with questions?
Yeah. This guy.
Real dorky stuff, too. We were doing it.
And they said a word, I guess it's a word, a phrase that we had not heard before, and that is, they said Class 7A.
It's coming.
And they seem to indicate 2024, 2026. Not this. So there's realignment in February. It's not coming then. But
they made sure to say that it was not coming in 2022 realignment.
But the next realignment, or one of the next two, they anticipate that Class 7A may be on the horizon. I know you don't have a ton of details yet, because it was basically kind of I wouldn't say a comment in passing, because they meant to say it. But
that was intentional.
It was intentional.
We know Dr. Harrison really well. He doesn't just say stuff for no reason. He doesn't throw stuff out willy-nilly.
Right.
He's saying it because it's happening, and he's getting everyone's minds right for
prepared.
What is your initial reaction to what that might look like?
So my first thought, and I've got a mock-up 7A realignment that will be coming out next week. I personally think that it's not going to look like any classifications we have now. I think they're going to put some, the UIL has parameters around realignment. The largest classification has X number of schools, that kind of thing. I think they're going to change that up a little bit. I think 7A is going to look, at least in the first few alignments, more like a super classification, where it may only have 8 districts or 16 districts. I think 8 districts might be a good starting point. Or maybe 16 districts, and it's not going to be split in divisions. It's going to be just one classification, 16 districts, 64 playoff teams, or 8 districts and 32 playoff teams, and it's going to be like that until we have more schools to fill out the classifications. I don't think you can do a full 32 district classification in 7A without making the other classifications. There's going to be, you're going to have to take it from somewhere. There's not enough schools yet.
It's
But I
better
think
to
it's-
add than to
Yes.
try and restructure the entire thing.
And I think it's time because what happens is new schools aren't built to be 4A and 3A schools. When new schools come in, they're 5A or 6A. And there's only so many spots for 32 districts in 5A, 6A, roughly 500 spots. Give or take 10 either way, right? Well, what's happening is all these new schools are getting dumped in. And what's happening is the smaller 5As keep getting pushed down to 4A. There's not new schools being built in 4A, so that gap, that ratio between the smallest school and the largest school keeps growing. Right now, the 4A range is 515 to 1229. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And even though football is split in divisions, you have to look at realignment. It's for all sports. You're taking a school with 1,229 kids in basketball and playing a school with 515 kids. That's a large difference. And that's hard for those really small schools to compete. So I think that the pressure in 4A is getting to the point where they're going to have to do something, because next realignment, we're adding 9 more schools that are going to be 5A and 6A. By 2024, there are going to be another 9 or 10 schools. By 2026, another 9 or 10 schools. So you can see where this is going, right? So I think something has to give, and I think adding a Class 7A, basically taking the top part of 6A, putting it in 7A, taking the top part of 5A Division 1, moving them back up to 6A, and then taking the top biggest 4A D1 schools, putting them back in 5A, I think may shrink that ratio a little bit and make for a little tidier alignment.
Because I think it's worth mentioning that when the UIL does alignment and they announce something like, they didn't announce it, but they mention something like this, they're not doing it because they think it's cool to have a Class 7A.
No.
Like, they're doing it, there's a purpose behind
Yeah.
it for a little bit more competitive balance and for having teams play, in their opinion, more closely aligned to where they should be playing. There's always going to be cutoffs, right? There's always going to be big schools.
There's always going to be outliers. Allen is always going to be an
Correct.
outlier. 7A or 6A when it comes out, they're never going to have a 2-to-1 ratio because Allen is just so much larger than everyone else, right? There's going to be a little bit of a, but there's a diminishing returns in 6A or 7A with the larger schools. There's not as big of a to me. A school with 1,200 kids has a lot bigger advantage playing a school with 600 kids versus Allen with 7,000 kids playing a school with 3,500 kids.
Yes.
Correct.
I think the advantage of the smaller school is much greater. I think there's diminishing returns as the schools grow.
All I
personally.
could think about was more Pix videos.
Nice.
I'm scarred for life.
Let's go to your questions on Facebook. Has anybody asked any questions?
They sure have. Real fast. We're going to hit first 4 through the door.
Oh, my
We
bad.
missed that. We were going for Stepp. Jacob John, Rob Hadaway, Hector Rios, and Ryan Smiga. Welcome in, fellas. Jacob John asked, what is one non-district game that you are looking forward to in week 1? And what about one for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I've got an easy one.
I've got a good one for the rest of the season.
I got one for week 1, which is Den Ryan and Longview.
Yes.
Den and Ryan and Longview are playing at the Star.
Yeah, the star.
On Saturday. on
R.I.P.
Saturday.
Pucci. R.I.P. Pucci.
They're playing at the Star on Saturday, and that is not only is it obviously the defending state champs with a huge challenge right out of the gate, and we have some questions about Longview and this and that, and what does Ryan look like without some of their key missing pieces, etc. Not only that, take that away. These are 2 Region 2 teams. Like, these are 2 teams that are, I'm not going to say likely, but are more likely than not to see each other relatively early in the playoffs. And so if you want to talk about a showcase early season matchup, that's a kind of non-district matchup that I can get behind.
Absolutely. I would go with, I believe it's a Thursday night game there at Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney, Carthage versus Crosby.
Tasty.
Yeah, I like Carthage versus Longview Ryan. Obviously is great. I'm going to be at Longview Ryan. My schedule is going to get released next week sometime, I think, right, Pickle?
Yeah. It's
I will
ready
be.
to go.
A little tease. I'll be at Longview, Denton Ryan, but Carthage and Crosby intrigues me.
I like Melissa and Salina.
Melissa and Salina is going to be
That's tasty.
tasty. Melissa and Salina is going to be excellent.
One for the latter half of the season. Geyer at Atascocita that's
It's a
juicy
juicy
as well.
one, yeah.
and that's
Always love when
man-
the Houston DFW games happen
Yeah.
like
well,
that.
and a task correct stump. That's a correct stump signature.
Sure,
Is,
yep.
is he wants to come up to DFW.
Last year they did Allen.
Yeah,
They're
want
playing
to go
Allen
up
again this year.
Yeah,
And
they're
coming
doing
back
both.
to Allen, yeah.
and they want to play, they want to play the big DFW area games and stuff like that. I think part of it is because now they're in Region 3, is that right? Or are they in Region 2?
Atascocita is in Region 3.
Region 3, okay.
Yeah.
It'll make a little bit more
They're in
sense.
North
there,
Shores
too.
District.
But they, you talk about, going up there and challenging yourselves. And especially because, look, I think in a lot of ways, kind of the secret's out in Houston that he probably has a lot of trouble filling out his non-district schedule. So he has to get creative and be like, all right, we got not only do we have to play good teams, we have to play good teams that are maybe like in far-flung areas, compared to us. So yeah, a task to that, and that's at Apogee, right?
Yes. Yeah, I might be at that game too.
Great concessions.
Might
Great
be at that game
concessions.
too.
Wink, wink.
Another later non-district game that I'm interested in is Euless Trinity at Austin Westlake.
Ooh.
Yeah, Euless Trinity at Austin Westlake.
Let's see what
what
Ollie can do out there.
Yeah.
Against,
Talk about taking
against the
sledgehammers to each
defense.
other.
Yeah.
Quarterback Ollie Gordon.
That'd be
Yeah.
fun. Quite a quarterback matchup there. Cade Klubnik versus Ollie
Ollie
Gordon.
Gordon.
Yeah, nice.
That's
The quarterback matchup you never knew you
little,
needed.
little different. Yeah, exactly. What's next, Pickle?
Well, real fast, and here's a thing that I guess we can actually tease without having to say. Our Texas football day is happening.
Yes.
They are, and
I guess I can tell you that we've been talking with our friends at Bally Sports Southwest.
Yes.
And I can tell you that live here on this program, August 2nd, we will have the exclusive reveal of the Texas Football Days matchup.
We're so excited.
Here on Texas Football Today. So stay tuned.
That's a vertical tease right
that
there.
Is
that vertical? Is it vertical or horizontal?
Horizontal.
Horizontal.
I'm an idiot.
Tease.
Screw me.
So
We're gonna cut that.
So
Dang it.
So I can send that back
the
to you whenever
worst
you say
pickle.
something dumb.
August 2nd, right here on Texas Football Today, the exclusive reveal of the Bally Sports Southwest Texas Football Days showcase game featuring the Everman Bulldogs and the Llano Yellow Jackets. I gave it up!
Yes.
Oh,
dang it.
you
Oh,
ruined
dang
it. You ruined it.
That'd be fun.
Llano by 21.
You're a big jerk. All right, what's next?
A lot of college questions.
That's fine. I can help.
Let's see. Do you want to give where did it go with realignment being hot again, should G5 Texas schools form their own conference and add some from out of other states?
I think a lot of it.
Bring back the Southwest Conference.
I mean,
Bring back Southwest
realistically talking, like that's basically Conference USA.
So, but here's another thing, and
To be fair,
I want to be sensitive to this, but like let's be real about what we talk about when we talk about conferences as they exist. There's the Power Five, okay,
and then there's the field.
right now. See, I would disagree with that.
Yeah,
I would disagree with that. I think there's the Power Five, and there's the Group of Five, and then there's a middle there, and that's the American Athletic Conference.
Yep.
Okay, that's SMU and Houston basically, and so I think. When realignment comes down, Houston and SMU are going to very suddenly be in high demand, I think.
Yes.
Both in major metro areas, both big recruiting bases that conferences are going to want to get into. I think if you're talking about realignment winners, Houston and SMU are going to be on that. So as far as kind of forming their own conference, if I'm Houston and SMU, I'm just like, make me an offer.
No, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
make me an offer.
Like, what's up, boys?
This is
Well, and then the rest of the G5 schools are literally all in Conference USA. So
with the
it's like
exception of
they're
Texas State,
already
for sure.
it's
Yeah,
like they're all already
they're all already
together,
together,
so
so-
that's why they're the big winners.
So
there.
keep an eye on those. Houston and SMU are going to be hot names. Very like when the first salvo is fired, a lot of, and it sounds like it's being fired right now with Texas and OU flirting with other conferences. When those are, keep an eye on Houston and SMU. They're going to be in high demand, and I would say that that's one that to keep an eye on.
All right, let's do some food talk here.
Yay.
What is
Got to get you out of here in about
best?
5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, then give me this: best 3 barbecue places in Texas. That's putting you on the spot.
My favorite 3 that
Ray
I've
Gates.
been to. Ray Gates Barbecue at Cedar Hill High School. I would say.
You got to know a guy though.
Yeah, you gotta know a guy. Yeah. Your money's no
There's a
good.
password.
Yeah,
Or maybe it is good. I don't know. Coach Gates, let us know. I would say we go with the hometown pick, Heim Barbecue in Fort Worth. Well, now is in Dallas. They're expanding.
Shout out Travis.
Franklin Barbecue in Austin's unbelievable. I mean, you got to wait in line, but
I've never had
it's
it.
worth it. It's worth it. And I would say I really enjoy Killen's Barbecue in Pearland. I think those are my 3.
What is the one that Powers really cattle?
Cadillacs.
Cadillacs.
So I've only tried their turkey. Powers brought me some turkey from Cadillacs. Cadillacs is in
Max is high on that one
yes,
too.
it's in Dallas. I'm just never over there when they're open.
Okay.
And it's one of the ones I want to try.
Yeah. I think those good. I got to get down to Franklin and do and
Pay a college kid to stand in line for you.
That's I've spent money on worse things. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So those are my 3 favorites.
All right.
Okay.
So
And then
2 more for Stepp.
2 more for Stepp. let's see. We'll do one football and then one food. Does Coach Dodge ride off into the sunset with a three-peat?
They're the number one team in the state, so
for
I
a
mean,
reason.
right now they're
Is that your number one as well, though? Like,
yes,
obviously in the magazine, but your number one as
they're
well.
my number one team.
Now I will just say, now, and it's weird because I think most teams you look at a team with 2 returning starters on defense and be like, oh well, they're going to take a big step backwards. I think that shows how much faith we have not only that entire coaching staff, but especially defensive coordinator Tony Salazar to get those guys moving in the right direction. They obviously have Cade Klubnik, who is one of the very best players in the nation. The one thing I'll just keep hammering home. If you watch this show, you're going to get sick of hearing me say this. The top 3 in our 6A rankings can all go Division I or Division II. Okay? Katy, Southlake, and Austin Westlake can all go either place. And so, do I think that Westlake is probably the best team in the state right now? Yes. But we also know that the path you walk matters really.
For sure.
Westlake, if things could break in a way that they are cruising through, they could also break in a way where they're going to have a super tough matchup week 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it depends. And so yeah, that's one thing I want to see because, like, for example, we have Westlake 1 and Katy 2. I like that pairing. But who would I take in Westlake versus Katy on neutral field?
Pick 'em game.
It's a pick 'em game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, that gap is not so wide.
God, that would be an awesome game.
So Westlake, yeah, I think right now, but we don't know where they're going to go, and so it's a little bit harder. Like, for example, Carthage. If you were to say, is Scott Surratt and the Bulldogs going to win their title this year? I'd say I think they're heavy favorites to do so.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But we also know the path they'll have to walk. That's the unique thing about Westlake is we're not going to know until week 11.
And to be fair, they've done it 2 years in both classifications, so
different
that's
divisions.
you know.
Exactly right.
All right,
All right,
to
our
end
ender.
it here, and this I think refers kind of to Tepper, but I'm interested to hear what you say. So Taco Palenque was checked off the bucket list. What is
We'll
the
get Chepper's
next?
reaction on the vlog, by the way.
What is the next bucket list item? And I know what I would say for you. We have got to get you out to Storms. That's the one I'm high
Yeah,
on.
Tepper needs to
been
go
to
to Storms.
Storms.
Haven't been to
man.
Storms.
What is a bucket list item place that I have not been to?
I know, dude.
Well, or do
actually,
you have one-
and I have an embarrassing.
Do you have one for Tepper
I
too?
have an embarrassing one. I've never eaten at Mary's in Strawn.
See, I haven't either. That's the one I
Okay.
wasn't able to check
Mary's
off.
and Strawn. If we go to El Paso, which we are hoping to go to
Chico's?
El Paso. Chico's. Tepper's got to try Chico's tacos.
Because I feel like that's what you said is it's something that you have to
it's an
do.
iconic
It's
El
not-
Paso thing.
what
It's
I
not
understand
the best food in the world.
What I understand is that it's almost polarizing, right?
Oh yeah, it's real. If you talk to anybody from El Paso, they either love it or hate it. But you got to try it once, just
to
see.
say that you've
Okay.
done it.
For me, when I go to El Paso, I eat it once, and I'm done. I don't need it anymore.
A couple years ago, when I
I
went
eat it once,
to
I'm good.
El Paso, you sent me to L&J, and that was
Yeah. L&J is like a really good sit down
yeah.
spot.
Very
You got to
good.
try Chico's. So
Chico's. Okay.
It's Chico's, and so for Tepper, it's Chico's, Mary's, and Strawn, and
Storms.
Storms.
Yeah,
But
and
you
you've
gotta
got to go to
Storms and
Lampasas.
Lampasas.
Do
Yes.
not go to the Burn at Storms. You have to go
Don't spend,
to Lampasas.
don't spend your money and
It's-
burn it,
that's
according
very,
to Pickle.
Man, that's crazy because I'm having flashbacks to being in Longview for Texas football days
Oh yeah.
and going to Bodacious. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to go to the
Yeah. There's one Bodacious like we got like Hayden Henry.
And they're in
who's
the
one
same
on
town.
Moberly. Yeah, the
was
one
like,
on
You
Moberly.
gotta go to the one on Moberly.
Yeah.
Like you gotta. I'm like, it's kind of
Yeah,
weird.
you have to go to the Lampasas
Yeah.
Storms. You cannot go to the Burn at Storms. They're
Okay.
two same thing, totally different.
Different experiences.
Yep.
Matt Stepp, appreciate
All right.
your time. I know you're
Yay.
going back to Canada for a couple
Yes,
weeks.
I'll be back for. I'll be up in Canada. Like I said, till August 20th. So we'll be around. I'll be on the Twitter and in the comments during the show. So I'm
Safe
won't be far
travels.
away.
We're
Thank you.
excited to have you back
Well,
for real.
we're excited to have you back. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Tell the family that we said hello.